ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Data Talks with Loren. This is a show where we talk about emerging trends in the data world to enable people to stay informed. In today's topic, I will take you through possibilities that could go wrong in a data project. Now, one way to look at this is in terms of data insecurity. Further reference could be drawn from the Macamber's cube, and this outlines the CIA triad, which is basically the confidentiality of data, integrity of data, and availability of data. Now, these three components are shown very well in the Macamber's cube in relation to other components, which include policies, education, technology, and all these apply to data at rest, data in transmission, and data in storage. Insecurity could be easily applicable to any of these areas, and the reason why I was saying it's interrelated is because, for example, if the right technology is not used, then it's easy for the data to be breached. If people are not educated in terms of the confidentiality that they need to apply while dealing with data, either that is at transmission or at rest, then that will be insecurity by itself. And then if people are also not educated in terms of the integrity of data, it causes the data to be insecure, because anyone can be able to share anything if they don't have the correct knowledge. And that's why this Macamber cube is a very good point of reference when looking at data insecurity, so that you make sure you're integrating all those components together for you to be able to have secure data. Another possible way that a data project could go wrong is to look at it in terms of the data infrastructure. When you have outdated infrastructure, this could lead to either unreliable sources of truth, because then you're relying on a system that probably got outdated, and then the data is no longer reliable or maybe not even available. So that could lead to a data project going wrong. And closely related to also infrastructure, you could look at it in terms of costs. Sometimes, especially like when you're using cloud services, you might have duplication of resources without knowing, and this could make the cost go high. Sometimes you either have duplication or also unreliable, unused resources rather. So this will make the cost go high, and that causes a decision to be made in terms of probably this is not the route to go, because it's probably eating half of the company's money, spending in terms of paying for licenses or paying for resources that are not even in use. Another point could be under stakeholders, and stakeholders could be on both sides. It could be on the team that is leading the project, or it could be on the team, on the client side, who are the people who need the project to be done for. So under stakeholders, number one, we need to have buy-in. You need to convince the stakeholders why this project that is related to data is necessary for the company. You need to show them a data journey, a roadmap that will show them, here is where the state of things are, here's the profits that you're bringing in at the moment. But when we implement this data project, it will take us to this much profits, it will take us to this much level in competition. So you need to have that clear roadmap that causes your top management to buy in, and therefore they invest in the data project. Without that buy-in, it will be hard for them to invest in that project, and that causes the project to fail, even if probably it was a good one. So that has to come out clearly. Another point could be in regards to probably company politics. The company could have pushback in terms of maybe some people do not want this project, some people want this project, and that could happen. And all this friction, instead of having a merged team, then people are looking at it in terms of fighting each other and not helping each other to move this data project to the next level, which will benefit everyone in the organization. One other point under stakeholders could be in terms of resistance to change. Because then, without showing the value that this is bringing, people could resist the change. People could not even want this IT team to come in, or the data team to come in and help them move to the next level, because they're stuck to their old ways. Probably it could be because of lack of knowledge. They do not understand what maybe technology is, or they do not understand how the data bit works, or they seem to see that maybe it will replace jobs. So that resistance to change could also be a very big challenge when it comes to getting things done right. And then also still on resistance to change, you could find the business users who are supposed to help you understand the project so that you implement the data project correctly. They're probably not giving you the right information, which causes a problem in terms of implementing the logic or the calculations, because then you end up doing things based on your own understanding, but then you need your help. You need help from people who know the business well, so that you use that business logic to use it with the data logic, and then you combine this to make it a project, to make the project a success rather. Sorry. So another point is the data itself. Data could probably not be clean, and when the data is not clean, it shows the wrong impression. Probably the profits are not where they're supposed to be, or the loss is not even probably happening, but it gives the wrong impression that the company is not doing well. So if that is not taken care of correctly in the back end, or even when doing the data entry, because the business users probably key in this information, then the data the data people pick this and now implement the project. So if it has not been done correctly, that logic will be wrong, giving a wrong impression. So data has to be clean by itself. Right. One other point is in regards to the data skill set. Choosing the correct skill set is very important, because when you pick people who do not know what they're doing, they'll give you the wrong solution architecture, they'll give you the wrong implementation, or they just tell you to buy a lot of hardware or software that are needed, which are not really necessary. So you really need to be keen with picking the skill set, because then it will drive the right implementation of your data project. Wrong skill set might lead to might lead the data project to fail. Also, another component I will think of that will cause a project to fail is in regards to requirements gathering. Now, when we're beginning the project, normally an initial phase will be to sit down with the business users, identify what their requirements are, so that you address those needs. So when at this stage, if you are given the wrong information, if you're given the wrong definition of terms, if you're given the wrong logic in terms of the business, you might implement that wrongness to the project. And of course, that will lead to the wrong impression in terms of the outcomes of the project, because then when you end up at the last bit and you're presenting this project, it becomes a case of, no, this is not what I wanted. But if that was the information that was given, then that's what you implemented, and that could be wrong. So I advise you take requirements gathering seriously for both parties, and give as much information and as much logic as you could. Another phase, and this also closely related to the requirements gathering, will be in terms of the scope creep. So sometimes when the project is starting and users have not been given the correct idea of what this project is supposed to achieve for the company or for themselves as individual or as a department, then it becomes a case of, no, it's not my project. And then at the end, when they start probably seeing the fruits of these data projects, they become more keen in terms of, wow, can I get this? Can I get this? But at that point, it's probably even during the mid phase of the project or at the last phases of the project. So this becomes a challenge because scope creep happens, such that maybe a top user or someone who is even probably funding the project wants something at that point, but at that point you're probably almost closing the project. So you see, it becomes a challenge because then it puts the person implementing in a position of either to extend the project, even if the project is near the end, or to now try and now rush and factor in someone else's inputs at that point, so that now the project is closed with their requirements put in place in the, or rather factored into the project. So that will be a challenge on its own. Another point I will think of is poor project management. If you don't pick the right methodology, personally, I use Agile. So I advise you use Agile, because if you don't pick the right methodology, that by itself becomes a challenge, because then Agile welcomes the principle of change. It welcomes the principle of working closely with the users, so that you view everything that you're doing, you view. If things didn't go right in the first week, you probably implement it in the second week, and vice versa. Or if things went right, you carry that forward to the next sprint. So correct methodology would be good. And for the project managers also, one other thing is for you to be able to have the skill set in both the technology that is being used to implement the data project, and also just having the know-how of how things happen, so that helps you manage the project well and also plan for the project well. Because then if you're not able to plan for it well, you might say probably ETL development will take, I don't know, 5 days. And that is not the case. It could probably be throughout the project, because then you are doing maybe ETL for department A, then ETL for department B, as you continue building upon it, okay? And that could take longer. So, and based on the principle of sprints, you need to do things in an agile way, such that you get things done, not till the end is when you're presenting, but continuously developing and building upon what you probably left in the previous sprint. One last point I will think of that ties all these points that I've been talking about is data governance. Lack of data governance could lead to the project going wrong, because data governance ties in the aspects of people, processes, and technology. When you have a proper data governance put in place, then it helps you have a foundation of what to integrate into all those components. So when you look at those three parts, people, processes, and technology, there's the bit of accessibility of that data, there's the bit of quality of the data, there's the bit of security of the data, knowledge in terms of handling this data. I'm hoping today's episode has helped someone probably take into the negative ways in which a data project could go wrong and turn them into positive ways, such that you're able to take the lessons learned and implement them in your projects to ensure the success of your project. That has been it for today's episode. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day or nice time. Bye.